for a long time, I sort of wondered, I've been saying this to a lot of people recently, I wondered what made someone like Grant Hackett want to win 15 gold medals. Like, why not 1, 2, 3? Why? Well, I don't know the exact number, but he won a lot of gold medals. And someone like Kelly Slater to come back and win 9 world surfing titles. And I wondered what that mindset was.
This is Legends with Bevo, thanks to Anytime Fitness Glenelg and Renelec Electrical Services.
This episode of Legends with Bevo is proudly sponsored by Kookaburra Homes. Kookaburra Homes have been awarded South Australia's most professional home builder 2 years in a row. They're a true SA success story and are passionate about other South Australians sharing their success stories. Well, g'day and welcome to another edition of Legends with Bevo. Pleasure today to be joined by a couple of fantastic athletes. We could well be seeing them in the Olympics in the future. Riley Cox and Izzi Batt-Doyle, both a couple as well, a glamour couple. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having us, Bevo.
Thanks, Bevo.
So we should get to the most important thing before we get to the serious stuff. How'd you guys meet and who made the first move?
Ooh, we've actually known each other since we were 9 years old through little athletics and state teams, but definitely no friendship or real attraction at that first stages. I thought Riley was a bit of an annoying little kid, to be honest. Yeah, we started dating in 2017. Went to World University Games in Taipei together, and yeah, the romance started from there.
There you go. Did you make the first move, Izzi, or was it Riley?
I actually did. Yeah, I think I did.
There you go.
I mean, there was some flirtation going on for a while, but I think I probably made the first move.
I love it. There you go.
I was still deciding whether it was more important to work on my suntan or have a girlfriend at that point. So, it took a fair bit of pursuing from Izzi, I think, and then eventually came around to it.
Now, I heard from Little Birdie as well. Is this true, Riley? If it is, then this is very poor form, that you actually made Izzi pay for the first few dates.
Yeah, so we were doing a bit of training together pre-World University Games, and we were actually doing a bit of heat training in the sauna at Next Gen, and we came out and we were but obviously both hungry after training, and she's gone and bought me a cheese sandwich from the cafe, and I go, this is all right. I won't say anything, and did that a couple of times, and I thought I could probably get used to this. And then I mean, eventually about a year later, I paid for it. Started paying, and now I.
Our first actual proper date though was at Argo. We've been dating for 3 months because I've been overseas.
Pretty smooth.
But I paid for it.
You paid for it.
I don't remember that one.
He must be a real catch. This is unbelievable for a girl to pay for a guy. They must be a real catch.
I must have really liked him. Yeah.
I think maybe it worked in my favour that I wasn't over the top keen initially. Maybe that was.
That's the way to do it, mate.
Yeah.
I made that mistake back in the day. Yep. Yeah. Playing it cool because being too keen gets you nowhere.
Yeah.
So, no, you've done well. All right. Now, we love dishing the dirt on each other. So I'm going to give you guys the opportunity now to dish it on each other. And obviously, we've just heard about the date saga. So, Izzi, you can go first. Tell us something about Riley we don't know, perhaps some funny stories about him.
Oh, well, there was this one time he booked a room accommodation for us in Melbourne when we were staying together. I think we'd only been together for about 3 months, and he booked this hotel, a lovely hotel for us to stay in, been away for 3 months. And it was so great because there was a glass sheath between the bathroom and the bed. So you could literally see someone sitting on the toilet from sitting on the bed. It's just very bizarre, but that was your choice of hotel room, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, like Izzi said, we started dating, and then Izzi spent a bit of time overseas, and then so we hadn't spent all that much time together, and that helped us form a bond pretty quickly, I think. I think we got we're made to get comfortable around each other pretty quick.
That
is a good one, actually.
So that was another good move. Unintentional.
Yes. And what about Riley? Does he have any
many things. I mean, he doesn't turn off any lights. He leaves lights on. Actually, today you did, because I think I gave you a look. But leaves lights on.
Maybe that's a bloke's thing, because I get told off for that all the time as well.
Leaves dishes around.
Well,
Yeah.
sounds like you've got a good lady there, mate. She not only pays for your meals, but she does your dishes for you and turns the lights off for
I
you.
don't pay anymore.
Yeah. I probably started doing the dishes more for her, and she was paying for the meals. But I think that's flipped around, so you can't have both, I guess.
No, you can't.
Now, as much as I just want to have a bit of banter with you guys all day, we better get to the serious stuff. Obviously, Tokyo 2021 is still up in the air this year. We saw the postponement due to COVID last year. How did you guys take the news when you first heard that the Olympics was going to be postponed, both wanting to be a part of it this year, or last year, I should say?
Yeah, I think, for me, and I'm probably speaking on behalf of us, I think every athlete's dream is to make it to the Olympics, but we both weren't necessarily in a position to be like, oh, we're going to make it if it goes ahead. So it was still a pretty big dream at that stage. And so when it got cancelled, I was pretty sad about it and just sad for the whole state of the world. But it didn't feel all that close to home, just because at that stage I didn't really think I was going to make the Olympics. I think I'd run the third fastest time for my event, but I was still quite a fair way off the qualifying time. So it was just a dream down the road. But it was kind of like, well, I don't know. There you go.
And I think in a pretty similar boat, I sort of, I was disappointed that it wasn't going to go ahead, but I didn't necessarily think it wasn't anything personal for me. I wasn't a shoo-in to make the team or anything like that. I think if anything, gave us another year to get better. And I think about getting better every day. I don't think about the Olympics every day. And hopefully one day I'm in a position where it's sort of, I'm good enough to be there. I just try and get a little bit better each day and chip away at it. So I think gave us both of us a little bit more time. I'll have an opportunity to run a marathon this year, which I'm hoping will be my best event. I'm yet to run one. So I think the postponement, gave us a little bit more time, and it was, other good things happened because of the pandemic, and, we had to stay in Australia, and So.
Also, when it I think was announced, I was only a couple months back from a really bad stress fracture where I'd taken 6 months off running. And so, I was pretty far away. I'd taken a few steps backwards, I guess, in terms of my running career. And so it gave me the opportunity to think, okay, well, it's not happening this year. But, if it happens next year, maybe I'm a shot for that team. So
that's a great attitude.
Silver lining for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really nice to hear those positives rather than, hearing the negatives about it. So good on you guys. Obviously 2021, we don't know what's going to happen. There's talk about the locals. Apparently I heard a stat the other day, 80% of the locals don't want us to go ahead. And, there's talk about having no crowds and no chanting. And I just don't understand, just to hear your thoughts on it, both of you guys, but I don't understand why we can't sort of have 10% of a crowd, It just doesn't seem right. Say the marquee event of the Olympics is the 100 metres men's, and, we love hearing the crowds and everyone going off when someone breaks a record or whatever, and just not hearing those crowds doesn't seem right to me. What's your thoughts firstly, Izzi?
Yeah, it's tough because I guess now I am in a position to be maybe making the team if it goes ahead, and I'm a bit torn because hearing those stats from Japan, it's tough to think that, you can't really win. If it goes ahead, it's a bit sad because a lot of people don't want it and it will be, massive costs. But if it doesn't go ahead, really sad because a lot of people miss out on what is a wonderful thing that occurs only every 4 years. And without the crowds, I just think, the atmosphere wouldn't be the same. And if it goes ahead, it's not going to be the same as a normal Olympics, that's for sure. And I think, having some crowds would be much better than having none. Like you said, even just 10% to have a bit of atmosphere. But it's tough. I mean, 10% in a massive stadium would probably feel pretty empty anyway. So
well, I think some of the locations that have had the Olympics in recent-ish times, of all that, Japan probably have a lot of pride and really they really are fans of the sports. I'm sure that they would love to fill out and pack the stadiums, and you would get 100,000 people into the stadium if it was allowed. So it's a bit disappointing on that front.
I also understand. I understand that there are people dying, and it's not really an environment to be able to have that kind of environment happen.
I think there's probably two ways to look at it as well. You can say, oh, it's just sport. It's quite selfish with what's going on to even be considering some people will say that. And then, but yet sport brings a lot of people joy, and just being able to watch the Olympics and take your mind off other things that are going on for that period. And really, in that sense, I think people should really be pushing for it to happen.
Yeah.
So
I think sport's very important. I think
It's a really good answer. Yeah, both of you nailed it really well, I think. And we're obviously seeing at the moment the Australian Open that it's actually going pretty well with only sort of, I think 30,000 capacity or something like that. And so it is going to show that we can work with small crowds. So let's hope with the success of the Australian Open, fingers crossed there's no more cases or, outbreaks, that maybe we'll see the same with Tokyo, where there obviously be smaller crowds and no chanting. At least, like you mentioned, guys, it's something to get excited about, and especially if you're a chance to compete, it's even better. So, and let's get on to yourselves personally, because Izzy, you recently went into Zatopek Champions. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, Zatopek 10. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that was a event, and you had a lot of success with. Tell us more about that and what the chance is all about.
Yeah. So Zatopek 10 is the Australian 10K Championships. And in an Olympic year, it doubles as kind of the, I guess, Olympic trials as such. I came second there. So I was really happy, and I ran a personal best of 31:43, which was 10th fastest Australian all time and 4th fastest Australian on home soil ever, female. Wow. I've stayed at my same spot of second South Australian ever. It was like over 30-second PB, and 30 seconds under the old standard, but not quite the current Olympic standard. So I have to run a little bit faster to get locked in for the team. It puts me in a good position going forward if there is more races on the cards. Yeah,
wonderful. And is there a chance to do another race between now and
There's
Tokyo?
Talk of another 10K qualifying in Australia. But also I think that from my position that I came, I would go on to what's called the Oceania Championships. And they're like a regional championships, And that's kind of a next step. Continental. Sorry, continental. Like area, whatever. Anyway, you're right.
Oh, congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
And we'll keep our fingers crossed that you get another opportunity to push your case for Tokyo 2021.
Hope so.
And yourself, Riley, you're the second fastest South Australian in terms of half marathon, which is an amazing achievement as well. Now, half marathons aren't easy. I've done a Sydney Bay before, and that was 12 Ks. That was a hell of a lot. So to do a half marathon is a pretty damn good effort, and to do it in the time that you have as well. Mate, that's a pretty good achievement. And correct me if I'm wrong as well. You went to Japan, was it last year? And you're almost a part of the World Championships for Australia, but it got sort of shut down with COVID. Is that correct?
Yeah. So in end of January, I think 2020, I raced in Japan in a half marathon and managed to run a time that qualified me for the World Half Marathon team. That was meant to go ahead in March, and the event was postponed until October, in which Australia decided not to send a team. So I was okay with that given the current circumstances, but it is a little bit disappointing because it is so bloody hard to make these teams. And, whilst I'm pretty confident that something will come around again, as long as I keep doing what I'm doing, there's no certainty. So it is a little bit disappointing in that sense, but I'm still really happy to have had that opportunity in Japan and run the time that I did, and really give a good insight into maybe what I can do in a full marathon in the future.
And in terms of like being, a half marathon champion that you are, do you sort of do training for a marathon? So, with the possibility that might get picked for a marathon for the Olympics, or is it just sort of purely just focusing on half marathons at the moment?
So I think, from what I've been told, the marathon is even compared to the half is a little bit of a different beast. So you really do have to learn to run on tired and heavy legs, and obviously fueling comes in a big factor because the half marathon's still only just over an hour for me, so I don't really need to take on any fuel during the event, whereas a marathon I will need to take on fuel during the event. So there are a few uncertainties there, but really it's lots of running and working out the pace that you want to run and breaking it down. And the 800 was a long way when I was 9 years old, and then the 1500, and then it just hurts all the same, just hurts for longer, and it's a real mental battle, and you got to, if you're mentally strong, I'm sure that you can get through.
A lot of people say that. I've chatted to professional runners before, like Jess Trengrove and other athletes, and they do sort of say it's all mental, especially those last few Ks. And as a runner myself, not to the level you guys are, but just more of a social thing. And you're really going through that pain the last few Ks. How do you sort of overcome that mentally? It must be really difficult though when you're just your body's telling you just to stop, but you've just got to go those last few Ks and just keep pushing to beat your PBs or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I've personally really learnt not to fight it. I think if you get tense and aggressive and, in that sense, when you're really hurting on the edge of, that fatigue and slowing down, if you fight it, it almost comes on quicker and is more drastic. Whereas if you relax and distract yourself a little bit or think about how your body's feeling almost in a meditative state, you've listened to someone like Eliud Kipchoge, the world marathon record holder, say he's almost in Zen mode when he's clicking off 250 Ks for a 2-minute 50K pace for a whole marathon. So he's in a world of pain, but he's just relaxed and just taking it in and not fighting it. So I actually count quite a lot just to distract myself and make the time go by, but also, very in tune with how my body's feeling. And said, don't fight it.
And yourself, Izzy?
I think they're all good points too, but I tend to use more like positive mantras when I'm running and just like sit on kind of a word or a kind of phrase in my head. And I do tend to think in the last few Ks of a race, like, come on, like you're going to feel so much better knowing you've given everything at the end versus get to the finish line and think, oh, I could have given a little more or, not tried hard enough. And I think we push so hard in training every day or, twice a week in hard sessions that when you get to the race, you're prepared for it because you've gotten to that point in sessions before and had to push through. So you get to the race and it's just natural to continue pushing through. But I think building like that resilience in training is quite important too, and practicing hard sessions, having a positive mindset and really just, sticking it through the last few laps or Ks or however long it is.
And we've seen some interesting sports being introduced in the Olympics. They talk, I think, breakdancing, and they talk about golf and surfing and some other interesting ones as well. But breakdancing is one that I thought I nearly fell off my chair when I heard that one. What do you guys think?
I was pretty disheartened by that, I'd have to say. Like, I just feel like it just, you just think, gosh, all right, am I really working that hard to be an Olympian if you can get in for breakdancing? In my opinion, it's not a sport in the sense. It's a performance, it's an act, and I'm sure people have to be very coordinated and fit and talented to do it, but it just doesn't, to me, seem like a sport. I value, pure like sports like running and swimming and cycling and, a whole other bunch of other sports. But I'm not sure breakdancing sits in my head as a sport. But what are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't think breakdancers could relate to us as runners either. So I think, coming as runners who push our bodies to the limit in that sense, and it's an objective sport. You win, you lose. It's time-based, it's distance-based. I think a lot of these sports that are like surfing as well, where it's a judge judging on who you are, like they're great sports. I love surfing. I love watching surfing, but it's more of entertainment and an art. And I don't know whether I'm not sure whether that, I could be naive whether that's really the way that the Olympics should be going. But I'm sure it'll evolve over time and it will become competitive. Like I think surfing, if you look back in years gone by, it was not a competitive sport. Like, people on the North Shore of Hawaii, they just loved going out for a surf, loved the culture. And then it became, you could make a lot of money, sponsorship, world tour meets, and then it became quite competitive. And I'm sure any sport that you give that to can become competitive, and people will just continue to push themselves to the limit, no matter what the sport. But I think it could have chucked in cross country or the half marathon or something like that ahead. But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Great answer, guys. And I have to totally agree with you. I'm a real traditionalist and 100% agree. Like, you guys work your butts off. You train so hard, and a total admiration for both you guys and all the athletes, in fact, that, do running, swimming, those sort of sports that do take a lot of training. So for someone to just come out and get a gold medal for breakdancing, no, I don't agree with that either.
It's funny, this whole subjective thing too, because when I did ballet when I was younger, and I got to the point where I was like, I don't like that someone's telling me how good I am at something, because it's their opinion. Like, just some person could think I'm, an 8 out of 10. Someone could think I'm a 4 out of 10 for, my ballet performance. But I liked running because it was so like pure and raw to me. Like, you win or you don't, you run the time or you don't, like you get you can't really argue it. Like, there are a bit of politics that go into selections and those sorts of things. But really, like, if you win a race, no one can argue that someone beat you in it, like they didn't know you won it.
Well answered, absolutely. And one sport that really fascinates me, and I've got so much, don't get me wrong, I think what you guys do is wonderful, but that walk, like the ability to just walk all that way, like power walking without, running, that just fascinates me. And it must be so hard.
It looks very painful.
Looks very painful. But those athletes are just incredible, aren't they? And obviously you see them, some of them, faulting sometimes and getting disqualified. But it just must be so difficult. That's one sport I find really interesting as well. So
I think that Australia enjoys it. We've had quite a lot of success at it, and helps our medal tally, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you guys have started a new business recently, which is wonderful. It's called RunAsOne. Tell us all about that and sort of how this idea came about.
Yeah, so we really love the group that we've formed at RunAsOne. Back in, I think it was probably March, April last year, I just started working at my current physio practice at Flex, and my boss Scott said, hey, I'm looking to up my running. Can you help me out? Can you coach me? And I said, yeah, sure, I think I can. I got a lot of ideas and that I'd love to be able to share. And so I started coaching Scott, and we went out there 6:30 in the morning a couple of times, and I thought, like, this is really good. Like, I enjoy it, but I'm sure Scott will lose motivation soon if and I probably will too if it's just us. So Izzy's mum, Rosie, came out, and then before we know it, there was 20 or 30 people, and then
that probably wasn't till May actually, but
So it took a couple of months where it was just me helping my boss out, and then started to be a bit of a thing, and people were saying, hey, what are we going to call ourselves? And Izzy came up with the idea RunAsOne, because it was initially called Riley's Runners, and I thought, gee, I don't want this to be too much.
I was like, you
me.
can't take all the credit.
Izzy said RunAsOne. I thought, gee, actually, I normally shut her ideas down pretty quickly. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, Izzy.
Yeah, well, I think the whole ethos of it was that as we were building the group, we had already, with 10 people, we had a very diverse range of runners and abilities, and Riley would do a really good job of making sure the sessions all really incorporated every runner and kept them running together and set up the sessions so people were, looping back and doing all sorts of, things to stay connected and stay involved. So that was where the idea of the name came from. And by June, July, we had 20 or 30 people, and decided to, as people were asking, if they could come out and run, make it a bit more of a formal thing. So made a website and made the business name official in early August, and then here we are.
Brought my brother on board, so it's a real family thing that we've got going. We've got so many lovely people out there, and met so many people this year that probably wouldn't have otherwise, and so many interesting stories, and just brought together by running. And I think personally, being an elite athlete, a lot of other elite athletes are good, they're talented, they don't don't understand the other side of running as such. But I've grown up, my dad has done 12 Ironmans, many triathlons, been doing city to bay since I was 6 years old, all those things. And I've been I always jump in a fun run when we go and go to watch Dad do an Ironman. There'd always be a fun run the day before, and I'd do it. So I really that's a big part of what I love about running is the community and the recreational side of it, where people just run to relieve stress or to be involved in an event, And running is one of the only sports in the world where you can line up on the same start line or field with the best in the world. Like Izzy's mum, Rosie, ran in Berlin a couple of years ago. That's on the same start line as Eliud Kipchoge, the best marathoner in history. So, I mean, you're out there together. So it's really, that's the whole RunAsOne ethos.
We're really runners for life. And I think, as Riley said, a lot of other elite runners sometimes just kind of stay in the elite bubble. But we just love the community of the running community. And I just feel like I've gained so much from meeting a lot more people who run for, for fun. And it's just so cool to have those connections and that community around us. And it's given so much to us this last year. Like, we're just so much happier, fuller of life people. So,
and you've got over 100 people now, which is wonderful. And so can anyone join, guys? It's just a matter of just jumping on your Facebook page, RunAsOne. And
we have people messaging us, contact us on Instagram, Facebook. We've got a website, which is www.runasone.com.au. But they can chuck us a message, and people sometimes just show up on a Tuesday or Friday morning at 6:30 at Vic Park and join in. So anyone's ever welcome to come and give it a try.
And what sort of distances do you run? Because I might be asking for myself.
So, like Izzy was saying, the whole setup is so that we have some guys that are really running quite well at the moment. They'll run up to 12, 13K within a session, and then some people will run. We have some people come out for the first couple of weeks and jump in the warm-up, and that's enough for them.
3K,
that's a 3K run, 2 or 3K run.
Yep.
And then, they might build up to running 5 or 6K at the sessions, and we write them an individual program so that they know where they're at, where they should be, so that they don't overdo it and get injured. So it's my physio background coming in. Like, as much as I could probably generate a fair bit of business, I try to prevent people from getting injured there. So, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful, guys. Like I said before, I think I certainly might come out and give that a go sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds like a lot of fun. And for the people out there that are listening or watching today, RunAsOne, get involved on the socials there on their website. Before I let you guys go, I always love finishing off with this one. Riley, we'll start with you. 3 famous people you'd love to have dinner with, and you can't say Izzy.
That's always a tough one for me, because this might not be the answer you're after, but I think, there's probably 3 people in RunAsOne that I'd just as much like to have dinner with than 3 famous people in the world. But I guess, that'd be that. I have been fortunate enough to have dinner with the likes of someone like Lopez Lemong, who's a flag bearer for US Olympic team in 2008. He's a 5K, 10K runner. And he's made me dinner, and I was at his house, so that was pretty incredible. So he's definitely on the list, but I've already ticked that off. I think growing up, I loved watching someone like Craig Mottram, who's the best runner in Australian history, really, over the 5 and 10K. So he's another one. I better think of someone who's not a runner. Mm-hmm. I'm very invested in my running, so. We'll let Izzy choose, and then I might come back with my third.
I can't think of one. Comes to mind is Barack Obama. I'd love to have dinner with him, but while we're there, may as well bring Michelle Obama there as well. She'd be great. I think she's got as much to offer.
2 more.
I would probably also say Beyonce. Trying to think less America and get a few more Aussies on board, but. Yeah, I was trying to stay away from running because I'm so likely to go like runners. But just thinking a bit more worldly who I'd like to talk to. But
I listened to a really interesting podcast from Grant Hackett.
Oh, yeah.
And I would love to speak to him more, because I think for a long time I sort of wondered, I've been saying this to a lot of people recently, I wondered what made someone like Grant Hackett want to win 15 gold medals. Like, why not 1, 2, 3? Why? Well, I don't know the exact number, but he won a lot of gold medals. And someone like Kelly Slater to come back and win 9 or whatever it is, 9 world surfing titles. And I wondered what that mindset was, because I know I'm a very focused and driven person, but I'm also quite, like, I get beaten a lot, and yet I'm still quite happy with my own personal performance. And I heard Grant Hackett say on a podcast that the last image he sees when he goes to sleep still is when he came second in an Olympic Games, the only silver that he got. I think it was in a relay, and I think Australia came second, and he was the trail leg. and he's just obsessed with that, and I'm almost like,
says he can't sleep at night.
yeah, and still,
last thing.
And he's been quite open. It's been public, some of the issues that he's had post his swimming career, and I just think that mindset, like, I'd love to learn more about it, and maybe even try and I'm not a psychologist. Izzy might one day try and help someone with it, but it's just incredible to think. So yeah, Grant Hackett,
Grant Hackett and Kelly Slater.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, Kelly, yeah, add Kelly Slater. I'm very interested in Kelly Slater.
It's a good thing to remember though, because even like after I came second at Zatopek, so I was leading into the bell lap. I wasn't supposed to win. Like, I was probably thinking I'd come like fourth or fifth, or have a good day, get on the podium, come third. And I was leading going into the bell lap, and then I got passed in the final 200, and I lost by 3 seconds. And to be Australian champion versus second, to me felt like a lot, and I was stewing over it, for the next few days. And Riley kind of reminded me of that Grant Hackett quote, and it's very it's a good reminder just to be like, if you can't be happy with coming second at Australian Championships, or winning a silver medal at the Olympics, you've got to reconsider what's going on in your head, because you got to you'll never be happy if you're always striving for that total perfection, because it will never be perfect.
It's a good answer. I guess, like, at the same time, though, it can drive you, though. Like, finishing second in Zatopek can now drive you. Yeah. And knowing that you're so close, Izzy, like, can drive you to, next time you get that opportunity to go one better. So
and I think, using it in a positive way, like being like, like motivation to, like, keep going. And, maybe that could have driven Grant for another Olympics. But, it's sad to think if he's still stewing over it every night.
I was just thinking as well, I think I'd enjoy dinner with Kelly Slater, because he's also vegan, so that would help. I'm not sure what Grant Hackett would dish up, but we could get stuck into some veggies, Kelly and I.
I didn't think about that. Beyonce, she was vegan at some point, so I'm hoping that dinner would be a vegan one with her too.
Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us today on Legends with Bevo. Riley Cox and Izzy Batt-Doyle, thanks so much. It's been a blast, and you're most welcome, and all the very best to both of you. If it's not this year with Tokyo, hopefully in the future with the Olympics or Commonwealth Games. And I better give a shout out to your friend and a girl I know as well, Coralie Duckworth, for teaming this up with you guys. I love the girl, and told me a couple of funny stories about you guys as well. So.
Thanks, awesome. Coralie. It's good fun.
Sounds so good.